If I were a boy, even just for a day, I'd roll out of bed in the morning and throw on what I wanted and
You know, they say a piece of media holds up a mirror to society. That's not a mirror. That's not my mirror. When I look into that, you know, it's actually more like a blank wall or an empty space because I don't see myself in that mirror that the media conglomerates are reflecting back at me.
There's less than 3.7% of women who are in the cinematography union.
What kind of camera is that?
This is a Canon 60D.
The percentages of women of color behind the camera, you know, it's just crazy.
Can I see how it works?
Sure.
So I thought I have to get them at an age where they can then say, this is what I want to do. How do I do it?
And can you just say that we have your permission to use this video?
You have my permission to use this video.
Today we're doing the activity Man on the Street. So what we are doing is we're going to ask pedestrians a few questions about our story, or that relate to the story that we're going to be doing. That will be our final product.
Okay. What's your story?
It's about self-harm in teenagers.
Anytime that you're not allowing yourself to truly express your emotions and to do it in a way that's healthy and a way that you can cope with it, you're really harming yourself by not allowing yourself to freely express yourself, you know.
Roll sound, roll camera. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
So, could you tell me your name?
My name is Amy Williams.
And Amy, what are you?
What am I? I call myself a redhead rebel filmmaker with passion for women's rights, girls' rights, Africa, downward dog. I like to climb mountains, yeah, I'm just really passionate about social justice and the use of media to achieve that.
And right now you are acting as
I'm the executive director and founder of an organization called Global Girl Media, which is a nonprofit organization that I founded in 2010. We train young women from resource-poor communities around the world in digital journalism. There's a girl behind the camera just nodding her head, come here, come here. And this is one of my students. And just introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Sambil Siwe. I'm 17 years old and I live in South Africa, Soweto.
And she's learning to shoot right now. She's learning to shoot behind the camera. What do you think making films is about?
I think making film is about getting to know the other people's stories and hearing their own views about things, and also having to be able to help them in case they're going through a crisis. And yeah, that's what I think filming is about.
I grew up in Wisconsin, and I feel like it was a really good place to grow up, but it was very bland, and I was bored really early on, and I just knew, I was recently looking back at these journals and these silly little poems I wrote when I was a kid, and it was all about, you know, fantasy of faraway lands. I mean, like, you are who you are, right? Pretty early on.
Hola, Barcelona! I've been dying to say that all day.
I just did a TED Talk about how I came to filmmaking because I was not in undergrad studying film at all.
So have you ever had a moment when your life takes a 90-degree irrevocable turn? Well, that moment happened for me on the last day of 1985 on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro.
On the slopes of Kilimanjaro, I picked up a camera for the first time. One of my climbing partners had brought an old VHS camera. This tells you how old I am. They were very big at the time, much bigger than the camera you're shooting me with. And as soon as I picked it up and I started filming, it was like the second day of climbing, and I had kind of injured my hamstring. And I was frustrated that I wasn't in as good a shape as I could be, and the camera just immediately took my mind off the pain, and you know, literally just gave me a way to reframe my experience, my world, and I made it to the top, and I just haven't put the camera down since. you can imagine what this does to a young girl in East Oakland who 6 months ago was thinking of either, suicide, dropping out of school, suffering from depression, listening to her older brother who told her she's a no good, she should just go out and sell herself on International Boulevard. It's pretty remarkable, like what this technology does once you put it in the hands of people that have never really been heard.
Why don't you guys introduce each other?
What?
Yeah, introduce each other.
This is Camila. She is another one of the girls that is a part of Globe Girl Media, and she is into fashion. One thing about her, so yeah.
This is Layla, and she's also one of another Global Girls, and she's really into, so far as I know, PR and working with music artists.
If you can ask her one of those questions that you asked yesterday out in the field.
Question. I can ask you that question.
Happy or happy?
Are you unhappy or are you happy?
I would say that I. Let me be honest. Okay. I'm actually a little unhappy with my body, surprisingly, right? Because, some people are like, oh, well, you're skinny, what are you unhappy about? But actually, personally, I want to gain a little weight. This is weird to talk about because I don't really talk about this. This is actually very interesting.